Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's take a few moments to become present. Find yourself a nice, comfortable seated cushion, block, blanket, anything that will make your spine nice and long and tall. Opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the sixth limb of yoga, which is Dharana, meaning concentration. The first four limbs of yoga has us focus on our interactions with our external world, our relationships with others and ourselves, our relationship with our body, and with our breath. Pratyahara, the fifth limb, has us start to withdraw from that external world. And Dharana, the sixth limb, starts us on the journey inward by developing our concentration and focus. It's what I refer to as the training of the puppy to sit and stay. So we're in this training mode in Dharana. So there's several concentration techniques that help create a focused mind. First one is Trataka, and that means gaze in Sanskrit. The theory is still eyes creates a still mind. So you would find something visual that you focus on to hold your interest, like a candle flame or a picture or a flower. A lot of people have a little altar set up in their yoga studio room and do their meditations in front of that. And another technique is Anapanasati, and that's breath awareness and the raw sensations of your body. So Buddha has a quote that says, being sensitive to the whole body, the yogi breathes in. Being sensitive to the whole body, the yogi breathes out. And one part of this concentration technique is that our breath is always with us. It's always available, always accessible. So it's something that we can do that training of concentration at any point. And then a third one is called Drishti, and that's the one you hear in yoga class a lot. And there's two components. There's one that's a more internal, it refers to a point of view inwardly, which influences our energetic body. But more often we find that term used in a yoga class, and it's meant to work externally, where we place our gaze outward It influences our physical body's posture and alignment. So there are 9 Drishti points. And by guiding our eyes on one of those Drishti points, we build concentration and eliminate distractions. So for this morning's meditation, we talk about the first 2 concentration techniques. You can choose between the Trataka, which is gazing at an object, and I'm going to provide a candle for you here. Or you can use the Anapanasati, which is just focusing on your inhales and exhales, how they go through your body. And the mudra, it's one of those classic mudras that you see. It's the Gyan mudra. And this mudra is all about concentration. So you can put your index finger and your thumb together and extend your other 3 fingers and gently lie those hands on your knees. So let's just take a few moments to do the meditation. I'll set up the candle for you if you'd like to do the Trataka version. There we go. We'll just take a few minutes and focus on the candle, or the Anapanasati, which focusing on your breath, whichever works for you. Alrighty, we'll go to our mat and start our asana practice. So I mentioned there are 9 Drishti points, and those points are looking upward and outward. That's 1. Looking to the left or to the right, that's 2. The third eye is a Drishti point. The tip of the nose is a Drishti point. The hands themselves are Drishti points. The fingertips are Drishti points. The thumb, middle of the thumb, is a Drishti point. The navel is a Drishti point, and our feet are a Drishti point. And each pose that we do, each asana that we do, is assigned a Drishti point. So that helps, again, with our posture and our alignment for that pose. So let's just start in our basic seated pose. You can cross your shins or lay your ankles side by side, whatever's comfortable. Just creating a nice long spine, back of your neck. So let's send our gaze outward. And then we're going to move our head to the left. Bring it back to center, gazing outward. And then turn our head to the right. Come back in. Come down to our navel. That creates a gentle bend in our back. And then send our head back up. So we're gazing outward. Let's do that one more time. So send your gaze to the left. Then gaze to the right. Come back to center. Send your gaze down to your navel. And then back up and send it outward. I'm going to take the tip of our nose. You can kind of look for the tip of your nose. We're going to create circles using the tip of our nose. So just gently make nice round circles with the tip of your nose, going clockwise. And then counterclockwise. And then come back to a neutral position. With our sun breaths, we bring our fingertips to the side. When this inhale, sending our hands up overhead, send your gaze up to your thumbs, to the middle of your thumbs. And then as your hands come down, choose one of your hands and just follow it down, back down to the mat. Then bring your head back to center, gaze outward. Inhale, lifting your hands up again. Sending your gaze up to your middle of your thumb. And then on the exhales, bring your hands down and look at the opposite hand, following it back down to the mat. Send your gaze back to the center. Inhale, bringing your hands up. Send your gaze up to your middle of your thumb. And then as you exhale, bringing your hands down, go to the first hand, following that back down to the mat. Bring your head back to center. And inhale, bringing your arms back up. Sending your gaze up to your thumb. And then bringing both hands down on the exhale, following the opposite hand down to the mat. Then we're going to bring our right hand to our left knee, bringing our left hand behind our hips and twisting and sending our gaze outward to the left side. And then come back to center. Bring our left hand to our right knee, bringing our right hand behind our hips, twisting our torso to the right side and sending our gaze out straight ahead. And then come back to center. For side stretches, we bring our fingertips to the mat. Send our left arm up beside our ear, and then bend our right elbow, gazing outward. Come down to what's a comfortable spot, and then turn your head to look at your fingertips. We'll come back up, inhaling. Bring that hand down, and then bring your right arm up beside your ear. Left fingertips are on the mat. Bend your left elbow, bringing it down, sending your gaze outward. But when you get to that comfortable spot, turn your gaze toward your left fingertips. Inhale, come back up. We'll do that one more time on each side. So bring your right hand fingertips down, left arm goes up beside your ear, right elbow comes down toward the mat, gazing outward. And then you reach your sweet spot, and then turn your gaze to look at your right fingertips. And then come back up. And opposite side, right arm goes up, left fingertips on the mat, left elbow bends, sending your gaze outward, reaching your sweet spot, and then send your gaze down to look at your fingertips. And then inhale, come back up. We're going to come up onto our hands and knees into tabletop. Knees are right below your hips. Wrists are right below your shoulders. Navel's tucked to the spine, creating a nice flat back. Fingers are spread nice and wide. And your gaze would be on your fingertips here, so that would really lengthen your spine and the back of your neck. As opposed to when we go to cat-cow, will be upward, but this is a nice stretching of the spine and the back of the neck. We're going to take our right leg and extend it to the bottom of the mat, resting on the ball of your foot. And then you're going to bring that right foot over to the left side of the mat. And then turn your head like you're about to say no to someone, just kind of moving your head back and forth to the left, and then send it back to look at your toes. And inhale, bring that leg back so that knee is under your hip. Reassess your alignment. Weights evenly distributed in your hands. Then send your left foot back so the ball of the foot is on the mat. And then bring that left foot to the right side of the mat. And then turn your head like you're saying no to the right. No to the right. And then send your gaze back to your toes. And then bring your knee back underneath, back to tabletop. We'll do a few cat-cows here. So we're going to round our back. We're actually, want to remember one of the Drishtis is to look at your navel. So you can round your back, dropping your head and tailbone down. And if you can gaze toward your navel, that would be good. And then for cow, we're going to send our gaze up and out, bringing our tailbone up along with it. So exhale, rounding the back for cat, sending the gaze toward your navel. Then inhale, sending the gaze up and out for cow. And then continue on at your own pace, just really focusing and concentrating, looking for those Drishti spots and coordinating that with your breath as well. Coming back to a neutral spine, bringing our knees together. We do some bird dog. So extend your right leg up to hip height. Establish in your hands equal distribution of weight. And then lift your left arm up. With your toes pointed, we're going to inhale and flex your foot for exhale. Point, inhale, flex, exhale. Point, inhale. Flex, exhale, point, inhale, flex, exhale, point, inhale, flex, exhale, point, inhale, flex, exhale, and bring both down. Bring your knees back together. We'll do that on the other side. Lift your left leg up to hip height. Establish your equal weight in your hands and then lift your right hand up. You can focus on your fingertips of your left hand. Creates a nice long spine and back of the neck. So inhale, point, exhale, flex. 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 Inhale, point, exhale, flex, and bring the hand and leg back down. We're going to tuck our toes under, walk our hands back, coming into a squat onto our tippy toes, and then push down in our toes, lifting up to mountain pose. We're going to line our toes. So we're looking at our feet, our Drishti points. Line our feet up with the straight edge of the mat, about hip width apart. We'll lift our toes up off the mat, spread them out as much as you can, and then bring them back down to the mat, lifting our heels up off the mat. And bring those back down, really rooting ourselves into the mat, into the earth. And then our legs are nice and straight and strong. It's gentle bend in our knees, navel's tucked to our spine, shoulders relaxed and rolled back. Our Drishti is straight ahead, looking outward, which would create a crown that is level and reaching up to the sky, but also naturally kind of create a little tuck in our chin. So that's essential, is a good posture. So inhale, sweeping our hands up, and exhale, bending our knees, bringing our hands down to the mat. Just checking in with our body. Take a few deep inhales and exhales. Just spend your time, maybe close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and just really focus on the inside of your body, how it's feeling today. And we'll send our hands up to our shins, creating a nice flat back. Our gaze is extending downward, outward but down, creating a nice straight spine, back of the neck. And then we're going to send our crown of our head down toward the mat, which kind of sends our gaze up to our navel or maybe the tip of our nose. And inhale, sweeping our hands from the mat all the way up overhead. Bringing our hands up overhead, we're going to raise up onto our tippy toes for palm tree. Our gaze is extending outward, the Drishti. And if you want, for grins and giggles, send your gaze all over the place and see how it disturbs your concentration, and then that disturbs your balance. And then bring it back to one spot, Drishti, and then you kind of reestablish your balance, your equilibrium. And then bring our heels down, sweeping our hands back down to the mat, bending our knees. Inhale, come back, sending our hands back up to our shins, flat back, gaze is down. And then sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. Our gaze is toward our navel or toward our nose. And then sweeping our hands from the mat all the way up overhead. And then we're going to bring them together and then bring them out in front of us. We're going to do the 180s. So you follow our right hand, our gazing at our fingertips, concentrate on those. We're going to make a nice 180-degree circle with our right hand, sending it in back of us, and our left hand will come to our right shoulder. So with our gaze on our fingertips, we're going to bring that right hand back to the front, making a 180 degrees circle, meeting the left hand out in front of us. We'll do that on the opposite side. So follow your fingertips on your left hand with your gaze, bringing the right fingertips to the left shoulder. And then bring the left fingertips back to the front, meeting up with your right hand. We'll do that once again on both sides. So follow our right fingertips in 180 degrees, half circle. And then bring them back to the front. And then follow our left fingertips, 180 degrees, semicircle to the back. And bring them back to the front. Hands go up overhead and then sweep down to the mat, bending our knees. Inhale, come halfway up, half forward fold. Hands are on the shins, nice flat back, gaze is down. And then send the crown of our head down. We'll forward fold. And then inhale, sweeping our hands from the mat all the way up, overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center. And we're gonna lift our leg up. We'll start with the right leg, lift that up. And then we're gonna send it back of us and then land it on the mat. And do that, try to do that in a nice controlled motion. And then we'll bring it back. The feet are side by side. We'll do it again. This time, extend your hands out in front of you so that you're gazing at your hands or your fingertips. Lift the leg up and send it in back. See if that helps take the wobbles and wiggles out of your balance, sending it back. And then bring your leg back. And we'll do that one more time. So slowly lift your leg up and with control, send it in back of you. Yeah, that's not helping. And then bring it back. And we'll try that with the other side. So again, you can start with your hands close, or maybe the drishti that you need is to extend your gaze outward. Lift your leg up and send it in back of you. That might even work better. And then bring it back. Lift it up and extend it with control in back of you. Placing your toes down. And then come back. And one last time, lift your leg up. And try this hand thing again. See if it works. I think staring straight ahead worked actually a little better. And then come back to mountain pose. And then we're gonna inhale, sweeping our hands up, overhead. Exhale, bending our knees, come back down to the mat. Inhale, come up, half forward fold, straightening out our back, sending our gaze down. And then dropping our crown of our head down toward the mat for forward fold. Sweeping our hands up and overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center, and then palms come to the back of the hips. Feet are hip width apart, shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. We're going to tuck our chin toward our chest and send our gaze down to our tip of our nose and gently lean back. Take a few deep breaths here. And then come back up. And sweep our hands up overhead. Big inhale, exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat, placing our both hands on the mat and sending our right leg to the back of the mat, coming into runner's lunge. Hands are framing the left foot. Heels pushing back to the back of the mat. Left knees right over your left ankle. We place our right hand on the mat and then sweep our left hand up. As we sweep it up, we follow our fingertips with our gaze, sending our gaze up to our hand. And then exhale, bring that hand back down to the mat. We bring our left foot to the back of the mat, coming into plank pose. Plank pose, our navel's tucked to our spine, elevating our hips slightly. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat, and you're sending your gaze down to your toes, or you can send them to your fingertips. Either one is straightening and lengthening that spine. And then we'll slowly come down to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, keeping our elbows tucked to the sides. And then bringing our fingertips underneath our shoulders, gently push up to cobra, sending our gaze outward. And then push up to tabletop and lower your hips to your ankles for child's pose, bringing the third eye down to the mat. Closing your eyes and just focusing on the third eye. And then inhale, come back up to tabletop, tuck our toes under and raise our hips up to downward dog. So we'll pedal out here. The fingers are nice and wide, taking the weight of our arms. Arms are straight and strong. Chest is reaching toward your thighs. Knees are bent, or you're pedaling. And the drishti point for downward dog is your navel. I mean, it can be your feet, but from what I have researched, the intention is that it is your navel. So you really create that nice stretch in the spine. And you're trying to gaze at your navel. Then we'll slowly walk our feet up to our hands, coming into forward fold. And sweep our hands up overhead, bringing our palms together and bringing our palms to heart center. And we'll come into tree pose here. So we can lift our right leg up. And then you can send it either having your toes on the mat and heel on your ankle, left ankle, or your foot rests gently on the side of your shin. I guess it's your calf. Or you can bring your foot up to your thigh. And your drishti is straight ahead, looking outward. And this is the classic pose for establishing that concentration. And you can fall out of it and bring yourself back in. And that's what meditation is about too. That will be our next limb of yoga. It's not this limb, it's the next limb is meditation. And people say, you kind of have thoughts that come in and out and distract you. And then you just kind of clear them out and start again. And that's the same with poses. If you fall out of it, just kind of get back into it. So without your right foot touching the mat, lifting your leg, send it in back of you and come into warrior two. So your front knee, your left knee is over your left ankle. Back leg is nice and straight. Back edge of your foot's tucked into the mat. Your chest is open to the long side of the mat. And sweep your hands up to shoulder height and slowly turn your gaze to your fingertips of your left hand. And then we're going to drop our right hand down, lifting our left hand up for reverse warrior or peaceful warrior. And then come back down to warrior two, keeping your gaze on your fingertips. And then we'll bring our fingertips back up for peaceful warrior, keeping your gaze on them. And then sending your gaze back down as you go back into warrior two. And then one last time, lifting your left hand up, peaceful warrior. And then come back down to warrior two. And we bring our left forearm down to our left thigh, extended side angle, bringing our right arm up to the sky, sending our gaze up to our right hand. And then bring our right hand down to the mat as we pivot, coming into runner's lunge. We're going to bring our right foot up to meet the left foot. So really push down your left foot, lifting your right foot off the mat and bringing it to meet your left foot. Down into forward fold. And then sweep your hands up and overhead. Bring your palms together, bringing them to your heart center. And we'll do that on the other side. So sweep our hands up and over, big inhale. And exhale, bring our hands back down to the mat. And send our left leg to the back of the mat to runner's lunge. Hands are framing your right foot. We're going to bring our right hand down to the mat, sweep our left hand up, and we're going to follow it with our gaze up overhead. And then bring the left hand back down. Bring our right foot to the back of the mat to join the other foot coming into plank pose. Our gaze is down, looking at our fingertips. Navel's tucked to the spine, elevating the waist slightly. And then slowly come down to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Bring your fingertips below your shoulders. Gently push up, coming into cobra, sending your gaze outward. And then inhale, lifting up to tabletop, and sending your hips back down to your ankles, bringing your third eye down to the mat for child's pose. And inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, lifting your hips up to downward dog. We'll pedal out here for a few moments. And if you remember, our Drishti for downward dog is our navel. It really helps to create a nice long spine when you're sending your gaze to your navel. And then we'll slowly walk our feet up to our hands, coming into forward fold. Sweep our hands up overhead, bringing our palms together up overhead, and then palms to heart center. We'll lift our left leg up off the mat, and then come into tree pose, your favorite version. Toe on the mat and heel on the ankle, or sole of your foot on the calf, or on the inner thigh. And find your drishti. And focusing on a still point, that's the Trataka, that single point, like what we did with the candle earlier. So you're sending your gaze out, that's the drishti. But if you're focused on a single point, that's the Trataka. So without bringing your foot back down to the mat, having your leg lifted, send it out and back of you. Coming down in on the mat and coming into warrior two. So your right leg has your right knee over the right ankle. Left foot is nice and snug in the mat. You're coming this way. Your chest is open to the long side of the mat. The arms go up to shoulder height. And your gaze is sent over to your fingertips, your right fingertips. And just feel that alignment there, focusing on your right fingertips. Then we're going to drop our left hand, raising our right hand up for a peaceful warrior. And then following with our eyes, lowering our hand back down, coming back into warrior two. This is called warrior dance, when you're going back and forth between peaceful warrior. So let's lift our hand up and back up into peaceful warrior. And then bring it back down, coming back into warrior two, keeping your gaze all the time on your fingertips. And one last time, peaceful warrior. And then sending your hand back down, coming back into warrior two. And then we're going to bring our right arm to our right thigh, sending our left hand straight up to the sky, sending our gaze up to our left fingertips. And then bring our left hand back down all the way to the mat, pivoting on our back foot, coming into runner's lunge. And then we're going to bring our left foot to meet our right foot. So push down into your right foot, lifting your left foot off the mat, coming into forward fold, and then bending your knees slowly. Come all the way up. Hands come up overhead. Hands come together, and hands come to heart center. We'll bring our toes to the edges of the mat. Heels are tucked in 45 degrees. Pinky toes are on the edges. Come into wide-legged squat. So bring your hands together onto the mudra, palms together at your heart. Then we'll lower our hips, bringing our hips down to the mat, bringing our torso between our legs, keeping our gaze outward. And if you want, you can bring your hands down toward the mat, which will extend your legs, your knees out further for additional stretch. And then come down onto the mat, into, sit on the mat, and then we're going to lower our backs down to the mat, one vertebrae at a time. So you can do that slowly or express method, whichever works for you. And then bring our knees to our chest and give them a nice hug. Rocking back and forth, massage our lower backs. And then we're going to bring our arms out at shoulder height into a T. And we're going to drop our legs over to the right side. And then slowly turn our head and gaze to our left fingertips. And then we take our left hand and sweep it overhead, making a 180-degree sweep, bringing our left hand all the way over so that it then reaches our right palm. And then inhale, sweeping it all the way back again, following your hand with your gaze. And then bringing it back again, inhale, lifting your hand up and over, following it with your eyes. Come back, bringing your hands together. And inhale, sweeping it up and over. Follow it with your eyes. And then slowly turn our head back to center. And then slowly inhale, lifting our legs back to center. And we'll do that on the other side. So exhale, slowly dropping your knees to the left. And slowly turning your head to look at your right hand. And then we're going to inhale, lifting our right hand, creating a 180-degree arc over our heads, but following our hand with our eyes. Bringing our right hand all the way to the left palm. And inhale, sweeping it all the way back, slowly following it with our gaze. And inhale, sweeping it up again. Having it land on our left palm. And then inhale, sweeping it up, following it with our gaze. And opening up. And slowly turn our head back to center. And inhale, lift our legs and come back to center. Extend your feet to the bottom of the mat. We're not done yet. This next series is something that David Swenson, who's a big yogi in the Ashtanga style of yoga, this is one of his signature series for concentration. So we're going to be in not Shavasana yet, but be in mountain pose so that your legs are active, your toes are pointing up to the sky. You can have your hands actually flipped up, facing the sky, and have your body be energized, not relaxed as in Shavasana. So we're gonna and see if you can create a nice flat back, tucking your navel to your spine. We're going to lift our right leg up, just about 45-degree angle, and we're going to curl our toes under, creating a fist with our toes, and then tense up around your ankle, tense up your muscles around your calf. Follow that tension as you tense up your knee. Bring that tension up to your thigh and then up to your hip. And hold, and hold, and hold. And then release the tension starting from your hip, then to your thigh. Release the tension around your knee, release the tension around your shin, around your ankle, and uncurl your toes like you're opening a flower. And then float that leg back down to the mat. And just relax here for a moment. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. We'll do that with the other leg. So you're in mountain pose. Lift your left leg up about 45-degree angle. Curl your toes under, tightening them up, tightening your ankle, tighten your calf, tighten your knee, tighten your thigh muscles. Really concentrate hard on tightening those and hold and hold and hold and hold. And then releasing from your thigh first. Really concentrate, releasing the muscles from your knee, around your shin, calf, around your ankle, and then unfurl your toes and let your leg float back down to the mat. And relax, inhale and exhale. Next, we're going to create tension around our middle area. So you're going to tuck your navel to the spine, really concentrate on bringing your lower back down to the mat and just tense up those muscles there, concentrating, holding, hold, 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 and then release, relaxing that middle area, and take a big inhale and exhale. Then we're going to do that, what we did with the legs, but with our arms. So we're going to start with our right arm, palms facing up, lift it up, just about 5-6 inches off the ground. And then we're going to curl each finger individually, making a nice fist, and really concentrate on making a tense fist, and then send that concentration of muscles into your forearm, to your elbow, to your upper arm, and up into your shoulder. Hold, 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 and hold. And then start to release from your shoulder to your upper arm, to your elbow, to your forearm, to your wrist, and then unfurl your fingers gently, one at a time, like a flower is slowly opening, and drop your hand down to the mat. Just let it float back down and relax. Take a deep inhale and exhale. We'll do that with the left hand. So just raise that up about 5 inches. Curl your fingers one at a time, making a fist. Really tighten up that fist. Feel that muscle tension in your hand. Bringing it to your wrist. Bring that tension to your forearm, then to your elbow, and then to your upper arm. See if you can isolate and concentrate on each section. Hold, 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 and then release from your upper arm, shoulder, release from your elbow, release from your forearm rather, Release from your wrist. And then unfurl each finger slowly like a flower. And let your hand float back down to the mat. Take a big inhale and exhale. Next, we're going to tuck our chin to our chest and lift our head up slightly off the mat. So you create that tension and hold and hold and hold and hold. And then slowly let your head float back down to the mat. Next concentration is we're going to have our face scooch up like you just bit into a lemon. So really tighten all your face like, ooh, I just bit into a lemon. And hold and hold and hold and hold and relax your face. Deep inhale, deep exhale. And the last one, we're gonna open our eyes and open our face like we had the biggest surprise. So you're just kind of doing the opposite of a scrunch. You're widening your face as much as possible. Really concentrate on that. And hold, and hold, and hold, and hold, and then relax. A little face yoga there. I'm going to take a deep inhale and have it start with your toes. Focus on your toes, having the beginning of that inhale, and then let it float through your legs, inhaling all the way up through your body, all the way up through your chest, up to your nose. And then let it slowly drift back down to your toes on a big exhale. One last time, starting with your toes. Inhale. Visualize, if you will, like a blanket starting to cover you from your toes on up to your nose. So inhale slowly, following that breath all the way up as it covers you like a blanket. All the way up to your nose. And then big exhale from your nose back down to your toes, slowly removing that blanket. And now you can prepare for Shavasana. You send your feet out to the corners of the mat. Let them relax. Just flop open. Have your arms just relaxed and open. Take some deep inhales and deep exhales, letting the nutrients of today's practice go within you. And this morning I have a poem by Robert Frost called A Prayer in Spring. Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away as the uncertain harvest. Keep us here all simply in the springing of the year. Oh, give us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghosts by night. And make us happy in the happy bees, the swarm dilating around the perfect trees. And make us happy in the darting bird that suddenly above the bees is heard. The meteor that thrusts in with needle bill and off a blossom, in midair stand still. For this is love, and nothing else is love, the which it is reserved for God above, to sanctify to what far ends he will, but which it only needs that we fulfill.